Each and every Thursday, sportsmemo.com goes back in time and you can daily pick packages priced at only $5. And yes, for those wondering, that includes 5% best bets, normally priced at $30. This is the real Throwback Thursday. As an added bonus, all first-time customers will be credited $25 in WagerBucks after their initial $5 purchase. So each and every Thursday, make sure to go to sportsmemo.com and get best bets from the hottest cappers for only $5.
Good morning, guys. It is Thursday, March the 11th, stoppage time. This is the Europa League edition. With me today are Pavlos Laguretos of Sports Memo and Nick Borrman and Kevin Dolan of WagerTalk.com. We're going to preview 4 games that go today. Ajax, Young Boys. We're going to go to the 3 EPL teams in action today. Olympiakos versus Arsenal. Man United versus AC Milan, and Tottenham versus Dynamo Zagreb. Let's bring in the guys and see how they're doing. Kevin Dolan, how you doing, my friend? You are on a pretty good run. Tell me about it.
It's been a great run, Carmine. 11-4 now in soccer, last 15. We also had a 4-0 night in NHL and NBA last night. But, there's always a but. 5% loser on Leipzig, which it was... They just didn't show up, or in fairness, Liverpool didn't allow them to play. So, yeah, great run, but just little obviously disappointed with that 5% loser in Leipzig.
I just couldn't understand that game. Listen, I never expected Liverpool to shut out, basically, or keep them off the score sheet. Julian Nagelsmann's been fantastic at finding ways to break down teams, and he just couldn't break down this Liverpool team as depleted as they might have been. And they had, I think it was Fabinho return, and he played very well for them. So with that said, let's bring in Nick Borrman. Nick, you were away on Tuesday, but you're here on Thursday, and I know you're going to have some winners for us on these 4 games that we're previewing. How's it going, my friend?
Yeah, excited for today. Still pissed about yesterday, and I feel like I finally had a great play on Barcelona, and they beat the line by a ton. They were definitely the better team on the field, especially that first half. They probably could have scored 3 goals. But, of course, missed penalty from Messi, which I don't know if those words belong in the same sentence. And we didn't cover it, but luckily I took them plus a half a goal while that was available a couple days ago, and I took a prop too. So I ended up covering the 5% loss, but still frustrated nonetheless. They hit Barcelona plus 200, and I feel like that was just a great play. Just sad how it ended. But we move on. Looking forward to today and the upcoming weekend, of course.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Number one, at plus 200, that's definitely the right line or the right side to take in that spot. I did take him a little later, and I got him at plus 152. And,
Okay.
When that penalty was awarded, I thought the same thing. They score here just before halftime, go up 2-1, and they're probably going to hold on to that lead, even though they're going to press, because they still need to overturn that Leg 1 result. I still thought at this point, it didn't look like PSG were offering much of a threat. They were just looking to sort of maintain what they've done before and not suffer from that sort of, that Leg 2 post-traumatic stress disorder that they seem to suffer in ties in the past. So definitely, yeah, you don't expect Messi to miss one. He owes us, so we'll hope to cash in on him sometime later on. Pavlos, my friend, you predicted a 2-1 exact score result on Juve Porto. While the game did finish 3-2, the exact results are based on the 90 minutes plus injury time results. So that was a winner. Very well done. You're hitting these exact results over at Sports Memo with frequency, and they're all plus 750s, plus 800s, plus 900s. Tell us what you got going today and how you're doing.
Yeah, it's been great until yesterday, where I was on 5% for over 3.5 goals, in the PSG versus Barca match. However, I did win all my Champions League plays, all 5 of them, on Tuesday. It was a majestic match for me with Porto. We had we actually gave out some free plays that were winners. You gave out the 2-2 correct score in Sevilla. I gave out the 2-1 correct score in Juve. so many winners in the previous show. Looking forward to today with some Europa League matchups. I also have some correct scores. I had 5 correct scores in the last 8 days. So yeah, I think I'm on a roll right now. So let's do this.
I'm on a roll, he says. I love that when someone says I'm on a roll. That is awesome, man. Best of luck to you. I have 4 plays up today in Europa League action. One of them is a 5% play. So you can head over to WagerTalk.com, click on my page, and you'll find it. And I've actually put, while the 5% usually sell on their own, I've actually created a package where you can get my 3 regular Europa League plays along with the 5% play for $39. That's a discounted package, so the WagerTalk guarantee does not apply on that package itself. All right, guys, with that said, let's get on with the first game. This is a 12:55 Eastern time game, one of the early games. Ajax and Young Boys. Ajax minus 175. The draw is plus 333. Young Boys plus 425, and the total currently sits at 3. Obviously, we know the story about Ajax. They enter this competition through the Champions League, where they finished 3rd in the group. All 3rd-place finishers in Champions League after the group stages head straight into the round of 32 in the Europa League. They picked up a matchup with Lille, one of the French sides that is doing extremely well. And they disposed of them by 2-1 scorelines in both legs, obviously home and away. And since that loss to Atalanta on match day 6 of Champions League that knocked them into this competition instead of staying in Champions League, they have gone 19 games unbeaten. 16 of those are wins. So that's pretty impressive. Kev, I'm going to go to you first, but not to discount the Swiss side here, Young Boys. They've run away with their domestic league. They've got like a 19-point lead now in the Super League with, I think, 53 points. And that's on the heels of like a 15-win, 8-draw, 1-loss record. And in the last round, it was pretty impressive. They took on Bayer Leverkusen. I didn't think they could get by Bayer Leverkusen, and yet they beat them 4-3 at home and then 2-0 in Germany. So give me your thoughts on this game, Kev.
Well, for those who watch the NBA tip-off show, you know you love me. I love me some Swiss. So, I've been impressed with Young Boys too. But I'm going to probably get accused of plagiarism right here because I had a play written down. I did the research, and then I headed over to WagerTalk earlier this morning, and I seen Nick's write-up. It's pretty much, I'm probably going to take the words out of his mouth there because it's pretty much exactly my thoughts. I completely agree with it. If you hadn't have a chance, head on over after the show and read the write-up because it's great. Like, and just in terms of my own thought process, Young Boys come off a fantastic win against Bayer Leverkusen in the last round, as we've seen. Pretty shock upset there. But even with that victory, but Young Boys' win rate as an away team in this competition is poor. Clocks in at about 17%. They've won just 4 of the last 24 in this spot on the road as well. But it's not for lack of effort offensively. Young Boys have scored at least 2 goals in 8 of the last 10 road trips across all competitions. And they face an Ajax team who are averaging 2.5 goals per game over the last 10 starts as well. So on the surface, at least, this game has goals written all over it. Now, Nick's pick over at WagerTalk, Ajax and both teams to score. I completely agree with that. The price is now going off at a plus 210. That's phenomenal value. By the way, you might want to update that price as well, Nick, over on site. And look, I'm just in complete agreement on this play. Ajax, both teams to score plus 210. Great price.
All right, Pavlos, I'm going to go to you next instead of Nick because, listen, today's March 11th. At least here in Canada, this is the 1-year anniversary of pretty much everything shutting down because of the pandemic and sports. And if that's not troubling enough, having to listen to Kevin talk about how he agrees with Nick when these two guys are usually at odds with each other, I can't take this. So, Pavlos, I'm going to go to you next. Give me your thoughts on this game.
I'm going to disappoint you, Carmine, because I agree with everything that's been said. We got 2 very offensive sides today. Ajax, you all know him. They have tremendous talent up front. They have been hoarding talent for years now, and they create very good players. They have some great chemistry. They're leading the Dutch Eredivisie, their domestic league. They've been great in all fronts. However, they do come in this match with some important absences. One of them is of course, their goalkeeper Onana, who is suspended due to some doping issues. So Ajax, since their main goalkeeper has been suspended, they've only kept just 2 clean sheets in the last 8 matches. They do use a good goalkeeper. He used to play for the Dutch national team, so he's not very bad actually, but he just can't keep clean sheets. So I do see young boys scoring here. They're a great offensive side. They're not very good on the defense, and so yeah, we could look at another 2-1 scoreline for Ajax today, which goes also at plus 550, I think. Yeah, I don't see Ajax losing here. They've been great at home. They have 16 wins and 3 draws in the last 19 home matches in all competitions. They've been great against Swiss sides. Traditionally, they have 10 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws in 14 matches over the years. They've also been great at home against Swiss sides with 5 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. So, yeah, I do see Ajax winning this one, and I see goals, goals, goals.
All right, I like it. Nick, he mentioned a couple of good points, and the one thing I look at this, and I just want to state before that I've noticed the line has gone down about 20 cents on Ajax. They're at 175 yesterday. They're at 154 minus 154 right now. But yeah, you have to believe that this Ajax team is not going to underestimate young boys based off that round of 32 a matchup with Bayer Leverkusen, where they obviously won both games. What are your thoughts?
It's nice to hear from these two wonderful guys something that I haven't heard from my wife in 3 years, which is, Nick, you're right. So thanks, boys. I really appreciate that. Ajax, one of my favorite teams out there. They were our darlings in the Champions League a couple of years ago. I mean, this is a team they have one of the best academies in Europe. They bring up just tons and tons of young talent, sell them off, and just do it again and again. I just don't know how they do it every year. And they just are always, always good. Young Boys is a very solid team in the Swiss League, but let's be honest. I mean, the Swiss Super League is not on the same level as the Eredivisie. And that's not saying the Eredivisie is by far one of the elite leagues out there. It's not, but it's definitely better than the Swiss League. And so you got 2 teams on top of their leagues, and it's kind of like, sometimes in these Europa League matches, you want to try to weigh the conferences of their own. I say conferences because I was going to make the college football reference, but you want to weigh the league, strengths when they're playing each other. It's like, taking an SEC team versus a MAC team in a college bowl game and just going, well, shit, this team shouldn't beat this team just because they're so much better, even though the record might be worse. But in this case, Ajax is good. They're great. When I looked at both teams' scoreline on Monday, when I have a video that's up, as Kevin mentioned in a write-up, the underprice Young Boys was actually listed at under 1 goal minus 145. So at the time, oddsmakers were clearly saying they didn't expect Young Boys to score. That's now shifted to it's only about minus 110 under 1. So it's clearly getting money on Young Boys to be able to score in this game, which I think was, like I said, getting ahead of the price was a good sign. But there's nothing else I can say that these guys already haven't said. Ajax, both teams to scores, 2-1 on your money. You got to go for a play here.
Awesome. Just remember, Nick, marriage is like it's like football. The minute you get into that first argument, it's like a red card. You're on defense and just hoping not to concede the rest of the way. So keep it good with the wife.
I just
there,
hope she's watching the show so she knows what it sounds like. You agree?
Exactly. All right. We're heading over to the second game. We're going to, obviously, now this is 3 EPL teams in a row. We're going to cover all of their games today. Olympiakos and Arsenal. The line on this one is Olympiakos plus 320. The draw is plus 250. Arsenal minus 110. And the total is 2.5. Obviously, Olympiakos, Greece is their Super League leaders right now. And they looked like they were on their way out of this competition against PSV. While that first game at home they won 4-2. They went to PSV and they were down 2-0 early and looked to be on their way out on the away goals rule, of course. And then they get an 88th minute goal, which literally saved them and sent them into this matchup. Against Arsenal. Arsenal are one of the tournament favorites, believe it or not. The three EPL teams are the favorites. Man United at plus 300, Tottenham at plus 400, and then Arsenal, I believe, at plus 700. And these two teams have a history. Last year's knockout stages of the Europa League, Arsenal went to Greece and won 1-0 there, and then came home. And the exact same thing happened. It's the whole away goals rule. They lost 1-0, sent it to extra time. They took the lead, and then it was an El Arabi goal in the 120th minute that gave Olympiakos the 2-1 win in extra time and sent them through to the next round on the away goals rule. I'm going to go to Nick here first on this one. Nick, give me your thoughts on this game, and can the Gunners get the win?
Yeah, you definitely brought up a good point with last year. I can't believe they're meeting up again already, just one Europa League later. I think this one's going to play out a little differently. Both of those, as you mentioned, were one-goal games. And, Arsenal does not want to repeat history, of course, and go out against Olympiakos here. So I think they're going to approach this game a little differently. I think they're going to try to build a lead, and look to score a little bit more in this first game. And I just still don't trust their defense. I know we've talked about that a million times. This just looks like a really good situation for both teams to score, for me, is the way I'm looking at it. Arsenal, clearly on paper, the better side. You mentioned it. They're the third favorite to win at this point. In eight Europa League matches, Arsenal's kept just 2 clean sheets. Now, granted, in the group stage, they weren't always putting out their best 11 against the likes of Molde, Dundalk, and Rapid Vienna, but they still only kept 2 clean sheets during those 6 games, and then they conceded in both games against Benfica in the last round. And Olympiakos, in my opinion, is very close on the same level as Benfica, and I think they can play the same way and do the same thing that Benfica did to Arsenal here. So the Greek side, they've scored in 22 straight matches, and again, granted, the competition in the Greek Super League, no offense, Pavlos, is not the best, which I'm sure he knows. Mm-hmm. But it should still give them plenty of confidence coming into this match. There's not a lot else for me to say. I just think that this is going to be a result where both teams are going to get in the score sheet, and then we're going to see how it's going to play out for that second leg. But I like the price here on both teams to score this one, guys.
All right, Kev, when I look at this game, and it's Arteta's done as good as you can possibly do with the players that he has. And as Nick mentioned, you can't trust them sometimes defensively. You just wonder. But offensively, they have looked better. And, Saka has probably been one of the most impressive players. The kid is 19? I think he's 19 years old. And he's playing extremely well. Obviously, Aubameyang, Lacazette when he gets in there. But they're playing extremely well. This competition, much like Tottenham that we're going to talk about later on, is probably their only way they're ever going to get into Champions League next season is by winning this competition, because they're not going to finish top 4. Give me your thoughts on this one and whether you agree with Nick.
Well, firstly, I just can't believe Nick slags off Dundalk and then offers an apology to Pavlos for the strength of the Greek Super League. Where's my apology? What about the Irish Premier Division?
The Irish potato.
Just in terms of this one, look, I'll disagree with Nick slightly on the fact that I think Olympiakos are a better team than Benfica. Benfica were on a really poor run of form heading into that game against Arsenal, and they created some huge headaches, for the Gunners in that one. So, if I was playing this, I would definitely take a look at Olympiakos here catching the head start. You guys mentioned last year, but so no doubt Arsenal will be focused ahead of this game, but it's just Arsenal's road form for me. 6 wins away from home all year in the EPL, just 1 win on their last 5 on the road also. And, it was against your usual suspects, West Brom, Fulham, a Southampton side in absolute free fall and so on. So I can't get involved with Arsenal at an odds-on price in this one as road favourites. Olympiakos have a really poor record, it has to be said, against English teams in Europe. They've won just 9 of 36. Against them, but at least they do bring a protracted unbeaten streak at home into this game. They haven't lost here since Porto back in December, so that's something going for them. I know technically Arsenal much better team. They've already played here obviously and won in their last Europa League match, as we said, against Benfica, so winning again shouldn't pose an insurmountable problem for them in this one. But honestly, unless Arsenal are playing the likes of Forest Green or Crawley Town, I don't want any part of them laying a price as odds on road favourites. So it's a weak vote for me for Olympiakos plus half the goal.
Well, what's wrong with Forest Green? But anyways, okay. I get
I'm not apologizing to the English on this show.
Yeah. And just to update the odds, obviously the odds that I'm stating before each game are the overnight lines before I called it a day. I quoted Arsenal at minus 110. I see that they're now at minus 134. So they have taken some action overnight and this morning. I'm going to give the last word on this one to the one Greek guy on this panel. Pavlos, listen, I get, Olympiakos are a very good home team, but this is a game that's being played with no fans in the stands. It makes it makes a difference. And oddly enough, Arsenal have already played here at the stadium in the knockout stages, as that game against Benfica was played in Olympiakos' stadium in the round of 32. I think that was the League Two match was played in Olympiakos' stadium. So they're obviously familiar with this stadium as a whole. Give me your thoughts on this game.
True. Well, both teams that played the last two European matches in this venue were Olympiakos against Eindhoven, PSV, in the previous round. It was a 4-2 win for Olympiakos. Arsenal won by 3-2. So if you like numbers, maybe this could be an over. However, last season, as you guys said, Arsenal played here. They won by 1-0 and lost by 1-0 on the road, with Olympiakos eventually progressing. This season, things are different. Olympiakos right now, they have a serious problem at the defense. One of their best defenders, Ruben Semedo, is injured. Papadopoulos is also injured. They did bring Papastathopoulos, who used to play for Arsenal up until, I think, last season. But they do also have one more key injury to their center back. He's called Ba. He is now questionable to play. If he ends up playing, it will be through an injection to handle the pain. I think whatever they do, if he doesn't end up playing, that guy, they're gonna have a serious problem. They're gonna have to use a holding midfielder as a center back, like Liverpool do, or they have to use a left back as a center back. So no matter if Ba ends up playing or not, I think they do have a serious problem in the defense. They won't be able to patch it up no matter what makeshift defense they will create. Arsenal, I think they have all the tools to destroy an Olympiakos defense that was pretty good at the start of the season. However, they have fallen off lately. They can't keep clean sheets. The domestic competition is just pretty much won. They're 16 points ahead of both teams that follow him. So, yeah, I'm not very fond of Olympiakos right now. I think Nick mentioned the both teams to score, which is, I think, the closest thing to a bet I could make in this match. However, I'm staying away solely because of the fact that Olympiakos have a terrible difference right now, and Arsenal are not very convincing overall. So I'm staying away, but if anything, this looks like it could have goals from both sides, and maybe over 2.5 goals.
Yeah, and I get that. And prior to their 3-0 win in league play on Sunday, they had gone, I think, 7 straight games without a clean sheet. So I can see that. And there is some firepower in this Arsenal side. It's all dependent on which Arsenal shows up, because I as I've said before, it's a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing with this team. You just never know which Arsenal team is going to show up. Hopefully it is the better Arsenal team that comes to play today. Guys, before we head into the third game here, one promo on the show today. We have an end of soccer special that is up at WagerTalk and Sports Memo, where you can get your favorite cappers, all of their soccer plays up until the end of the European season, which this year ends on May 23rd, the weekend of May 23rd. Get all of their plays, including 5% plays, for only $249. I've taken literally 65% off of that package, because that would go for $699. So for $249, you get every single play that's released in soccer up to and including the May 23rd weekend. And that includes all 5% soccer plays as well. And this competition, of course. So head over to WagerTalk and Sports Memo, click on your Cappers page, and you'll find that on the right side of the Cappers page. All right, with that said, let's head over to the big game, I think, on the day. The Reds, Man United, and AC Milan. The current line on this one is Man United minus 163. The draw is plus 300. AC Milan are plus 450. and the total is 2.75, which is a split line of 2.5 and 3. Whenever I mention these split lines, just for some of the novices that might be in chat, and hello to all the guys that are out there right now and in our chat room as well too. An Asian split line of 2.75 is, of course, it's the medium between 2.5 and 3. So if you place a $100 wager on that total of 2.75, half your wager is graded at 2.5 and half your wager is graded at 3. So that's how you figure that one out. All right, as far as this one goes, listen, I already talked about United are favorites to win this competition. They're playing extremely well. Other than that, that misstep, I think, against Crystal Palace a little while ago, where it was a scoreless draw. They won the Manchester Derby and looked good doing it. They completely shut down a Man City team that had won, I believe, 21 games in a row. And they went to the Etihad and took care of that game. Missing a couple players. Cavani will be out. Rashford is likely out as well today too, as he picked up an injury in that last game that they played. The list for Milan is a little bigger, and this Milan team is a team that I've talked about on previous shows that I'm looking to fade a bit because the congestion schedule for this team, the injuries, it started to catch up. They led the Italian Serie A for the longest while. Inter Milan now have that in control. And I'm seeing a Milan team that could start dropping to third and fourth, and they're more concerned about making it into next year's Champions League. And while we're not going to discount them completely in this tournament, they're without Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Mario Mandzukic, Rebic, Kalanohu, and Benacer. So these guys didn't even travel with the team. A couple other injuries to mention as well too. I'm going to go to, who am I going to first on this one? Let's go to Nick first on this one. Give me your thoughts on this game.
I've said it several times over the last few shows when we covered Milan's games that I just do not trust them. I think they're on their way out of the top four in Serie A, and I think United are going to oust them in this round. They've hugely been benefited by the penalty kick this year. They have the highest difference in expected goals versus non-penalty expected goals of all the big five leagues in Europe. It's 12.5 goals more they've got on the expected mark because of the number of penalties they have. They've taken 16 penalties this year. They've made 12 of them. The next closest team in the league is Sassuolo with half. They have 8 penalties awarded. And the next closest team in the big five is Leicester with 10. I mean, 16 is remarkably just like it's unsustainable, first of all. And you can't look at their results, in my opinion, and just trust that they're going to score like they have, because a lot of their score lines are based on the fact that they've scored 12 penalties. So throwing that out the window, their numbers are average. And when we look at recent results against good teams, they are not impressive. They did beat Roma 2 weeks ago, but before that, 0-3 versus Inter, 1-2 at Inter, that was in the Coppa Italia, 0-3 at home versus Atalanta, and 1-3 versus Juventus. I mean, they can't beat the top teams in the league. United is obviously one of the better teams out there right now in general. They just came off that very impressive 2-0 win, and deservedly so, 2-0 win against City this past weekend. So confidence is high on that side. This is on my card today. I did a small 2% play on it because the price is high, but I took United minus 160. I felt like taking that just in case of a 1-goal win instead of laying the 3/4 of a goal line. But I just don't see any way that Milan win this game and move on from this 2-legged match. And I think United are going to take a win here in this first leg.
All right, Kev, I'm going to go to you next on this one, as Nick mentioned. And, in looking at sort of important games, Napoli, AC Milan have a game against Napoli this weekend in league play, and they really need the 3 points. So I'm not sure where their head is heading into this game. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's definitely the highlight game of the night, 2 of Europe's traditional heavyweights. So I'm pretty excited to watch this one, at least. I was really impressed, with the way Manchester United set up on Sunday's game against City. I definitely didn't see it coming. We talked about this last week. I thought City would win, but they shut them down defensively. They allowed City just 1.28 expected goals in that game. And they've now kept 5 clean sheets over the last 6 games across all competitions as well, United. So they're understandable favourites ahead of this one, and because of that, it's hard to look past them here, both in the way they dispatch Real Sociedad, in that first leg, who are a solid Spanish team, and they got absolutely run over 4-0. But also, as Nick says, with Milan's performances, and especially in this competition, squeezing past Red Star Belgrade on away goals, which is not going to fill them with confidence heading into this one. So I like Nick said, I do expect United to win here. However, minus 163, little high there. Handicap line set at 1. Those odds are pretty tight. So I'll instead turn to that magic man, Bruno Fernandes, anytime goal scorer in this one. He's going off at a plus 140, and that'll be my selection here. Fernandes averaged the most number of shots in this competition last season, 4.8 per game. That was well above anyone else. He also scored against Manchester City last week, scored a brace against Real Sociedad in the previous round also. So, if United have a big game tonight, generally he's going to be the catalyst for that performance. So Bruno Fernandes, anytime goal scorer for me in this one, plus 140.
All right, let's head over for the final word on this game, Pavlos.
Yeah, AC Milan are their front four is usually Ibrahimovic, Salhanoglu, Rebic, and other Salamakers or Leao. Tonight's starting four will be Leao, Krunic, Diaz, and Salamakers. These are players that you have to be really familiar with Milan to see, to know these players. They're actually their backup players. So Milan do have a problem up front. They do score goals without them, but it's gonna be tough. So United, they also had some absences themselves, guys. But I think that they have a deeper roster. They can cover the gaps, and I think that they will eventually win this match. And I don't think Milan, maybe they could score a goal and take that away goal to the second leg in Milan. But I think it's United all the way here. And you guys made some great points. These are two teams that are very prone to getting penalty kicks. To get, they score a lot from penalty kicks. So the over a half penalty kick or a penalty kick to be awarded in this match is at plus 142 at FanDuel. So yeah, I think that's the way to go. And if United get awarded a penalty kick, it's Bruno Fernandes that is the taker, and for AC Milan it's Kessie. So you might want to look at those guys for maybe possible scorers.
All right, we'll do. Great stuff there, guys. We're going to breeze by this last one with some quick thoughts because obviously I went a little too long on some of these segments. Tottenham and Dynamo Zagreb. Tottenham minus 250. The draw is plus 400. Zagreb are plus 600. Total currently is at 3. As I mentioned before, Spurs are the one of the favorites in this tournament at plus 400. They're the second one. They've looked good. They've scored 4 goals in 4 of their last 5 wins, and that's with the addition of Gareth Bale to that lineup. Obviously, with Harry Kane and Son there, that attack has looked good for this team. I'm not sure if all 3 are starting today because Mourinho has talked about managing Bale's minutes, and they do have the North London Derby this weekend against Arsenal. So while he has taken this competition extremely seriously because it's probably the way to get into Champions League next season, he's got to manage minutes for some of his players. Zagreb has looked good. They're a team that can score. They're same thing. They're running away with their domestic league. I'm going to go to Kev first on this one.
Well, quick take is I think Tottenham take care of business tonight at home. I don't think it'll be another blowout as Zagreb are tidy defensively. They've won 8 in the bounce. They kept 7 clean sheets over those 8 games as well. And also they have the fewest conceded goals out of any team still left in this year's Europa League competition. But nonetheless, I do expect Spurs to break them down here over the course of the game, win by margin. So, instead of the traditional Asian handicap here, you can pick up Tottenham to win by exactly 2 goals. Covers 2-0, covers 3-1, so on. That's going off at a healthy plus 300. I think that's a great price. And that's definitely the way I'll play this one. Tottenham to win by exactly 2 goals plus 300.
All right. I'm going to go to Pavlos next on this one, but the updated odds on this one, as I'm seeing now, is I did quote 250, which is the overnight. It is at now Tottenham minus 300 in this game. Pavlos, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, Dynamo Zagreb, they have won each of their last 6 matches in the Europa League. However, they've been terrible on the road against English sides. They have 1 win in their last 10 matches. They have 9 losses and 1 win. You know who that 1 win was against? It was against Tottenham. So I think it was against Arsenal. I'm sorry. I think I made a mistake in the notes. Anyway, Yeah, Tottenham, they're going to use a big rotation. They're going to rotate the squad heavily, but I think they have the upper hand here. However, the defense does not look good, so I wouldn't be surprised if Dynamo Zagreb scored a goal here. I think the over 2.75 goals is the way to go here. At around plus 100,
Nick,
I think.
I like it. Nick, I'm going to give you the final word, but I'm going to say this, and this is no disrespect to the teams that are left in both competitions, but we just see how strong these EPL sides are. This is almost looking like 2 years ago, where both the Champions League and the Europa League had the finalists were all EPL sides. It was Liverpool and Tottenham, and it was Chelsea and Arsenal. It just seems like we're gravitating to the exact same thing 2 years later. Give me your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, you're right. It's hard not to see two of the three remaining Premier League teams get into the final here. I mean, Premier League versus Croatia. I took Tottenham last night, minus 1.5 goals at plus 115. It's now down to even money. Still think it's the right side. Kevin, to win by 2 is a pretty good price at plus 300. Tottenham lead all teams left in the Europa League with a plus 1.83 expected goal differential per game in their 8 matches, which is very impressive. Zagreb are at plus 0.44. It doesn't matter. It's just end of the day. It's Tottenham should win this game. You do have to be a little weary. You're right, Carm, about the lineups. Mourinho did say he's not going to have the same 11 he had out there against Palace. But whoever he puts out there is still going to be a solid team, and they should take care of business tonight.
All right, that is the final word from Nick Borrman. To everyone in chat, please smash that like button. Let us know that you are there. We appreciate you guys getting up and watching today's show. We're going to be back next Tuesday with Leg 2 of Champions League, both games from Tuesday and Wednesday being featured. Don't forget that promo that is up at WagerTalk and Sports Memo, end of soccer season, $249 instead of $699, and you get all plays through to the closing of the European season, May 23rd. Guys, thanks for tuning in and good luck with your wagers.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.